play Comfortably Numb because we used to play it every night with Gilmour. So that's how we finished the show, like Pink Floyd. And with Timeline, we do Comfortably Numb. And James Crawford is, nobody is David Gilmour. You can't be David Gilmour. But everybody's in awe when James does the solo in, because I can see their faces from stage. Right. It's like, people are just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, he has the right touch for that solo.
Oh yes, definitely. So I'm quite proud of our version. It's it's not Pink Floyd, but who can be, sure. And who can be Gilmour? People have said to me, Pink Floyd got lucky. I said, no, they didn't. They got Gilmour.
Right. Personalities aside, all that. Who was one of the vocalists you've worked with? Who was your favorite just on their voice?
That's difficult. There's a few, actually. If they're vocalists, they're all good because you can't get up in front of 10,000 people and sing if you're no good. They'll soon suss you out. That's a British phrase.
Yeah, sure.
They'll soon realize you're not that good. So, Tom Jones had an amazing voice. I was with him right through the 60s. He's got the best natural, untrained voice ever born, as far as I'm concerned. Because he's never had a lesson, and he was singing like that when he was 17.
Now, was that a Wales connection that you ended up with him?
Well, I was in the same village,
right?
But the connection came when I was working in Cardiff, which is 20 miles, say, from where I was born, and where Tom was born too. And I'd heard that Tommy Scott and the Senators is what they were then. He wasn't Tom Jones yet.
Right.
And the guitarist, I'll put it this way, they'd sacked their drummer the night before, and one of the shop assistants told me that they sacked their drummer. He said, "You're a drummer, you should go for it." I said, "No, look, I'm 16. They are 20 odd. They're not going to want me in their band, So an hour after that, the guitarist comes in to buy some shoes.
Oh.
I was pretty good at working in a shoe shop. We haven't got that size. I'm sorry, sir. Like Spinal Tap. Yeah. So here, at the end of the day, I've no idea how we arranged it because no cell phones in those days, of course.
Sure.
It was the phone box at the end of the street. So he arranged, I'll call it bang on 6,
Yeah.
In the red phone box. Okay. Right. So anyway, long story short, they came to my house. They said, the bass player actually said, "Can you play the Start to Walk, Don't Run?" Which is the Ventures hit.
Sure.
I rattled that off and they said, "Okay, let's go to the pub and rehearse."
The pub, right.
Yeah. I wanted to be a drummer all my life. I haven't quite succeeded yet, but I'm working on it.
No, I think you've done a fair account for yourself. Do you use heavier sticks? Like, I'm not a drummer, but to me, your tech.
I use very. People go, "What are these telegraph poles?" I say,
"Yeah."
It takes, and they're long too.
Are they twos or?
Say again.
Are they twos or what? I mean, the size.
I think they're 2As.
Okay.
I don't know the classification because I get them made. I can't remember anymore, but I think they're 2As or 2Bs or something like that.
Yeah, because you've always had a heavy attack. It just sounds, like you're just hitting your snare with a log. Yeah.
Yeah. Cozy Powell used to use marching sticks, really big sticks.
You, Cozy, and Carmine's attack are always similar to me as far as the weight behind it.
Yeah. Vinny Appy's is even heavier.
Yeah.
he hits them like hell. I mean, wow. I've heard journalists say, about this drummer and that drummer playing heavy, but Vinny, when he hits when he hits a drum, it stays hit, man.
Now, I want to ask you this. I've not heard this. I've read that you worked with Gary Numan. What capacity was that, and when was that?
That was 82, I think. Yes,
Okay.
82. He was recording. I co-owned a recording studio with one of Earth Band and a few other guys, and so he recorded in that studio, and he didn't have a drummer. And so he said, do you want to do it, Slade? And of course, I like working. Yeah. So I said yes. And he said, do you know any fretless bass players? And I knew this guy, Pino Palladino.
Who's amazing.
Who is truly amazing. Mm-hmm. But he'd never played bass on a record. He was a guitarist.
Oh.
But then he switched to bass, and I knew he was a great musician.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put him forward, and that was his first professional gig with Gary Numan. On bass, that is. Before he was Pino Palladino, he was Jimmy Page. He used to play a double neck Gibson.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've worked with two of my favorite fretless players of all time. Of course, Pino and Tony Franklin are just two of my favorites.
Yeah, so. Another fretless monster, he calls himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely amazing. That's cool. But your timing is you're such a consistent, you're like a metronome when you play drums. Your time is very consistent. So in my mind, that would work well with Gary Numan, because he was very much on the forefront of kind of creating that industrial soundscape that was almost computer-like.
Yeah. To me, it's just it's all music. It depends. Mm-hmm. You change if it needs to be changed. You change technique or approach to the music if you need to. But to me, it's just playing drums.
One other question. This might be a loaded question, but like, say when you returned with AC/DC in 2015 or whatever, that was strange because you were back with AC/DC, but of course Malcolm's gone, and Brian was replaced for that tour with Axl Rose. Not necessarily meaning that tour, but do you have a memory of your most arduous show or tour going back to the 60s? Is there one that sticks out to you like, oh, that tour was a nightmare, or that was really difficult? It could be with anybody.
No. Touring with AC/DC was a doddle. It was fantastic. Second time around, especially, we were in private planes. First time around, it was on the bus, which is fine. Either of those is fine by me. Trying to think, difficult. No, I don't think I've had, a lot of people don't like being on the road. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Oh.